Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Very crazy late slate of games we saw last night. Man, the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets took it to two overtimes. It was a very exciting game, very good game. Something to watch if you really stayed up late to catch it. Now, that's the sweatshop right there. Very exciting news for you all. We have recently launched the DFS sweatshop.com website. It's www.dfssweatshop.com. This is where you're going to be getting up to the minute news, breaking news, and notes from around the league. You're also going to get premium content. You're more than welcome to go ahead and register at the dfssweatshop.com. We also launched a Facebook page. The Twitter page is going to be in the works, but the Facebook page is where we're going to really be able to get it in and mix it up, as well as on the dfssweatshop.com website. Go ahead and get registered. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the regular formatting of the show. It's going to be a little bit different, but we're going to get through it. We're going to start with a core four review. Now, my core four is what uh, the whole DFS sweatshop is based on. This whole thing is a few years of me grinding, figuring out the best way to become a profitable DFS player, and that is what I am going to show you in depth on the www.dfssweatshop.com website, as well as the Facebook group. Once you are registered on the website, you'll definitely have access to the Facebook group. You will be in there with the rest of us getting it in. Let's go ahead and start. Now, my first play in the core four was Kemba Walker. Not a very good game from him. We needed him to go out at 7.8K and get just about 50 points, and he fell very, very, very low under that threshold. Ended up with 31.25 DraftKings points. He was 14% owned. Anytime on a six-game slate, you get a guy that's 14% owned with the upside of a Kemba Walker, you're in position to win, but he has to play well. That's why they play the games. Not a very good game from him. The next play is going to be CP3. Man, he went out and scored 40 DraftKings points at 16% owned, so he was definitely in position to separate us in tournaments. But it was a blowout late in the fourth quarter. We didn't see much of CP3, so that wasn't a very profitable play and not a good way to spend that 9.1K in salary. The next play we're going to talk about is Sean Kilpatrick. He was 26% owned and went out and scored 27 DraftKings points. That didn't kill us. It didn't hurt us. The other two plays is what really kept us away from attacking the field in the tournaments. But that's why we keep playing. It's not going to be, we're not going to hit every night on a core four. The model is for us 4 out of 10 times to hit on our cores and hit in such a way where we are multiplying, doubling, tripling, quadrupling, sometimes 10 times our buy-ins. That is what the core four is designed for us to do. The last play we're going to talk about was a horrible play, was Clint Capella. Now, Sam Decker ended up being the guy that I thought that Clint Capella was going to be in this game. He had a very good game out. Clint Capella did not. He could not keep pace with the Golden State offense, and he spent a lot of time on the bench. At 17% owned, he scored 17.5 DraftKings points. Not a very good game from him. Not a very good showing from the core four that I released yesterday. Now, we're going to jump into the most talked about, most tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop. These are the people that were making headlines all night long. We were all tweeting about them, talking about them for good and bad reasons. Let's start with the Who Dat scoring all them points over there. Player of the night, and that goes to no other than James Johnson. Man, shout out to Britt Brat. She tried to tell me about him. He ended up at 8% owned, going out and scored 40.5 DraftKings points. Excellent game from him. If you had him in your lineups, I know you got close to the cash line with him. The next play is the how did I miss that play tonight? And that goes to John Henson from the Milwaukee Bucks. This dude went out at 4K flat. Went out and scored 32.5 DraftKings points at 10% owned. Very good play if you had him in your lineups. The heat check player tonight can go to nobody else, no one other than James Harden. James Harden went out and did the damn thing, man. Had an excellent game. He was 29% owned, so a lot of folks were on him. He had a lot of pressure on his shoulders going into the Oracle, playing against one of the best teams in the league, the Golden State Warriors, and he goes out and he puts up 75.25 DraftKings points, an excellent showing for James Harden. The next play we're going to talk about is that one motherfucker who ruined a lot of lineups. Now, see, I already had the Snowflake Award gift wrapped to somebody who had fucked up a lot of lineups, but this dude took it to another level. Kevin Love, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. Not just you, but the entire team was horrible. And you think about what Kevin Love has been doing for the early part of the season, how he's been playing lights out. I'm talking about going all in, and how well the other players on the team have been playing around him. We've seen slow starts from other guys on the team, and Kevin Love kept him in the game and kept him on the court, and they all ended up playing well together. Well, not tonight. In the fourth quarter, Kevin Love and his teammates were sitting on the sideline watching the coach's son and Mo Buckets and uh, Jamal Crawford run circles around the Cleveland second team, and the score was 90-70. Horrible. And that's why Kevin Love tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass, and we ain't gonna roster your ass again tonight. Because we know you're on one of the best teams in the league. You're gonna see some better matchups, and we're gonna be right there to cash in, but you owe us money. Now, let's go ahead and jump into uh, my best DraftKings lineup tonight. I'm gonna pull that up for you. This is my very best lineup. Now remember, my core four lineups bombed. There wasn't a very good showing from the core four, so my best lineup is probably okay. Here we are. This is my best lineup, and as you can see, I had it entered in a lot of spots, and this is what kind of saved my night. Now I did have some cats in the core four in this lineup, but we're gonna start. Of course, Chris Paul was in the core four. Sean Kilpatrick was in there, and Kemba Walker. Now, when the news came out about Salah Mejri starting for the Dallas Mavericks, I quickly pivoted to him, came down off of Capella, went to him, and that meant I was able to pay up for Gordon Hayward and Kevin Durant. Also, with the Wayne Ellington news that came out that said he was going to be seen in an extended role, I got on him. Now, so we had 40, like we said, from Chris Paul, 27 from Kilpatrick. We had 51 from Gordon Hayward, very good game from him. Dwight Powell had 20. Salah Mejri had 19. Kimba at home with the hose did not perform well. Had 31.25 DraftKings points. Kevin Durant in them two overtimes had 72 DraftKings points. And of course, we finished with Wayne Ellington with 20 DraftKings points. And this was a total of 283.5 DraftKings points. I did not hit the 300 club. Without that game, I lose everything. My complete buy-in, they helped me to at least break even. So, next we're going to be jumping into uh, just a quick recap of the games from last night, because there were some very good games we got to talk about. Let's start with the first game on the slate. It was the Dallas Mavericks at the Charlotte Hornets. We talked a little bit about Kemba Walker as him being a part of our core four, and he just never really could get it going after that first quarter. He had a fairly decent first quarter, but he just could never really get it going too much after that. He finished with 18 points to go with 3 boards and 5 assists and a steal in 32 minutes. We saw Cody Zeller for 30 minutes. He had 6 points and 7 rebounds. Nicholas Batum had a pretty decent game. 12 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, and 1 steal for him. Off of the bench, we saw Roy Hibbert for 17 minutes, and he had 11 points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks for him. Jeremy Lamb got back into the action a little bit and had 12 points to go with 6 rebounds and 2 assists and a block in 18 minutes. And MKG, man, pretty decent game from him. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists to go with a block. Frank Kaminsky had a horrible game. He only scored 1 point. He grabbed 3 boards and had a steal. Bad game from him. On the Dallas side, we saw some guys really get into the action, man. It was some pretty good games from Harrison Barnes. He had 17 and 9 to go with an assist and a steal. Darren Williams. See, sometimes you're on the right track. I was on Darren Williams the other night. He bombed, took me off him tonight. And he goes out and he scores 14 points, it's dished out 8 dimes and had 3 rebounds. So sometimes you're on a guy, but it's just not that the right time. That's why you got to stay with it and be vigilant with your plays. When you have a feeling, you have a feeling for a reason. Justin Anderson in 18 minutes off of the bench had 15 points to go with 3 rebounds for him. Wesley Matthews scored 14, grabbed 3 boards, and had 2 assists. Pretty good game from him if you got him in your roster. The next game we're going to go to is going to be the Brooklyn Nets at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is where Giannis Antetokounmpo showed the fuck out, man. He only played 29 minutes, but he had 23 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. Flirted with not only a triple double, but the Heat check play of the night until that last game. Pretty good game from him. Jabari Parker started off very slow, but he ended up kinda, sorta, almost approaching value. He had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal for him. John Henson in 24 minutes balled the fuck out. That's why he was. How did I miss that play tonight? He had 5 blocks, an assist, 8 rebounds, and 12 points for him. Tony Snell had 13 to go with 5 rebounds and 1 assist. Pretty good game from him. Malcolm Brogdon off of the bench, 13 points, 4 boards, 4 assists for him. Delhi got no rebounds, but he got 4 assists, a steal, and 9 points. Not a very good game from him, but it was useful where he was. Bojan Bogdanovic on the other side of the ball played 26 minutes, had 13 points and 3 boards to go with an assist. Probably the best play from this game was Jason Harris, man. He very cheap. I believe he was right around minimum salary. Had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists for him. We saw a so-so game from Sean Kilpatrick. We talked about that. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal, and a pretty underwhelming game from Brook Lopez. He had 15 points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. We also saw Trevor Booker for 27 minutes, and in those minutes, he had 9 points to go with 8 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies at home at the Grindhouse against the Orlando Magic. Nobody was really on Marc Gasol, but he went on and had an excellent game, man. 25 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 5 blocks. And we've got to remember that while Mike Conley is out, this dude is the primary scoring option on this team. I know we all wanted to go and roster the Andrew Harrison guy, the young point guard who had a pretty decent game, but we should not have overlooked Marc Gasol. He was in consideration for the how did I miss that play tonight. Marc Gasol, pretty good game from him. Andrew Harrison, he had 11 points to go with 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and a block. Uh, Man, we saw a pretty good game from Jarrell Martin too. He had 6 points to go with 10 boards. Pretty nice game from him. Troy Daniels got off of the bench in the action and had 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist for him. Tony Allen kind of underwhelmed. Jermichael Green had a pretty decent game. 8 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals on the Orlando side. Uh, Vucevic, man, had an awesome game. Uh, Came off of the bench again and had 18 points and 11 boards to go with 3 blocks. We saw a really nice game from Evan Fournier, 28 points, no rebounds, but 4 assists to go with those 35 minutes he had. Boyambo, he grabbed 14 boards and had a block and 3 points. We need more from him on the scoring side before we can roster him steadily with confidence. Serge Ibaka underwhelmed in his 31 minutes, had 4 blocks, 8 rebounds, and 11 points for him. Jeff Green also chipped in 14 points to go with 2 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, where the snowflake of the night lived on their home floor, man. This is horrible. LeBron James, man, 16 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Not a good game from the King. Didn't have him in too many spots, but he didn't have a good game at all. Kevin Love had 16 points and 4 boards. Not a great game from him. Kyrie Irving was the only bright spot on the team. He had 28 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Richard Jefferson in 22 minutes had 12 points to go with 4 boards. Channing Frye, 5 and 5. Not a very good game from most of the Cleveland cast of players. On the LA Clippers side, we saw a really nice game materializing for Blake Griffin, but there was no need for him to continue to play into the fourth quarter. So he only finished with 13 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, and 1 steal. Luke Mamba Mute in 29 minutes had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 5 steals for him. Pretty decent game from Chris Paul. He had 16 points to go with 6 boards, 9 rebounds, and 1 steal, but we didn't see much of him in the fourth quarter. He was en route to a triple double. We saw a pretty good game from the coach's son. Oh, Austin Rivers had 12 points to go with 4 rebounds and 7 assists for him. The next game we're going to get into, and it's crazy because we all avoided this game because the over under was so low. The point total, I think, was like 193, 180 something. Nobody wanted a piece of this game. But this is where the fantasy goodness poured in, man, on the Utah side especially. Joe Johnson in 32 minutes. He did this earlier in the season when Gordon Hayward was out. I don't know why we didn't think about that. He was also in the running for the how did I miss that play. He had 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. Gordon Hayward went nuts. 32 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Didn't see much from Dante Exum, who started the game. He only played 18 minutes, but Shelvin Mack came off of the bench and had 11 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists to go with a steal. Joe Ingles also had 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. All these guys were cheap, man. All these guys were cheap. You could have stacked this and it was cheap. The one player that I had in multiple spots on this team was Rudy Gobert, who had a shitty game. 6 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist to go with 3 blocks. Not a good game from him at all. On the Miami side, uh, Dragic, man, he had a really great game. 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists for him. Whiteside didn't double double. This is like the first time this year I can remember that he did not double double in the game. He had 9 points and 10 boards to go with a steal, no blocks in 36 minutes. Whiteside is maybe injured. Something might be going on there. We got to keep our eyes on that. Josh McRoberts got the start. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Not bad for him if you rostered him there. And the James Johnson, man, he was the play. He was the play of this game because at 4.2K, I believe, he had 24 points to go with 6 rebounds and 3 assists, a steal, and a block. Really filled up the stat sheet. The last game on the slate was the Houston Rockets going to Golden State to take on the Warriors. Like I said earlier, this game did go into 2 overtimes. We saw a pretty good game from Trevor Ariza, 12 points, 4 boards, and 2 assists with a steal. Ryan Anderson, for the money, was actually the play of this game, man. He had 29 points to go with 5 rebounds. Great game from him. Harden, another triple double for him, 29 points, 15 boards, and 13 assists. We had a double double from Montrezl Harrell off of the bench. He played 24 minutes, did everything we thought Clint Capella was going to do. He had 13 points and 10 boards to go with an assist and a block. Speaking of Clint Capella, in 24 minutes, he had 10 points to go with 4 boards. Not a great game at all from him. Eric Gordon came up nice off of the bench. He had 23 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. On the Golden State side, Curry was en route to winning this game and playing really great in that first overtime, but he caught his sixth foul and fouled out of this game. But he did finish after 38 minutes. He had 28 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 3 rebounds to go with the block. Kevin Durant, great game from him. 39 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. Draymond Green was 1 assist shy of the triple double. He played 46 minutes, damn near the whole game. Grabbed 15 boards, had 9 assists, 2 steals, a block, and 20 points. And most of these plays came up big in the end of the game to keep forcing it into overtime. He had a great game. Klay Thompson underwhelmed. I was kind of on him today, but he had 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists in 47 minutes. He was second in the team in minutes and last of all of the really good players in scoring. Not a great game from Klay Thompson. Now, let's jump into a quick player pricing for tomorrow's slate. This is where we're going to look because we've got a monster. We've got a monster. There's plenty of games tomorrow. So we're going to look and see what we have to look forward to or who we have to look forward to. Now, this is how I develop my player pool. On the slate that is biggest tomorrow, I want 30 names ringing in my head. That's what I want. I want like a 30-man player pool. That's what I'm shooting for. So we're gonna start here with let's get a little closer so we can really see what's happening. Okay, make sure the focus is correct. Alrighty. Alright. Okay. Now James Harden is coming in at 11.9K. That is, I want to say that's a fair price for James Harden on the road against the Denver Nuggets. We can look to him to pack a very solid scoring punch tomorrow. I gotta get my focus right. Okay, and he's the point guard, so we want to go and see what everybody is. Oh, the most expensive player on the slate tomorrow, of course, is James Harden. We've got Anthony Davis at 11.7, Boogie at 10.7 against the Boston Celtics. We've got LeBron at 9.4 against Chicago. Karl Anthony Towns again against my Knicks at 8.9. Chris Paul, 8.8 against his old team, the New Orleans Pelicans. We've got Jimmy Butler at 8.7. I kind of like that against Cleveland. You got Blake Griffin at 8.5. John Wall 8.4 against San Antonio. I'm not fucking with that. DeMar DeRozan at 8.3 against the Lakers. I kind of like that. I like that tomorrow. Kyle Lowry at 8.1. I like that. I think tomorrow we can fire up both of them, Lowry and DeRozan. Kawhi Leonard, no. Kevin Love and the bounce back against Chicago. I kind of like that. I can rock with some Kevin Love. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. We got Kristaps Porzingis. Some a little revenge against Minnesota for what they did to him the other night. He went ham. He had a great game. I like him. Andre Drummond against Atlanta. No, thank you. Isaiah Thomas against Sacramento. Give me all the Isaiah tomorrow. I like him. Kyrie Irving against Chicago. That's pretty tasty. Dwight Howard against Detroit. Yes, you can definitely go Dwight Howard against Detroit. I like him. Uh, Carmelo, no. Tomorrow, Brad Beal against San Antonio. I don't like that. Rudy Gay. That'd be a decent because we know we always attack Boston rebounding. I like Rudy Gay tomorrow. Drew Holiday against the Clippers. Now he's gonna be seeing Chris Paul defense. Wilson Chandler against Houston. I love Wilson Chandler against Houston tomorrow. I like that play. I think that's a good play. Uh, Julius Randle against Toronto's pretty nice looking play. Joel Embiid, we do need to check on that floor in Philadelphia to make sure that they're still going to be able to play because this game is in Philly. But I do like Joel Embiid, especially if he sees like Biombo, one of those cats, and not Vucevic, because Vucevic is a little more sly and cunning around the basket. The other guys are just straight up, they doofuses. They're not very savvy. Bismack Biombo is not very savvy under the cup. So I do like Joel Embiid tomorrow. Andrew Wiggins at 6.6K. That looks good. Horford. I don't like Horford tomorrow. Rondo against Cleveland. I can have some Rondo. DeAndre Jordan 6.5. Nah, not against Anthony Davis. Dwayne Wade 6.4. No. Russell is out. Aldridge might be a good play against Washington. Serge Ibaka. No. Derrick Rose. No, I'm not doing that again. Dennis Schroeder, who I like against Detroit. I like Dennis Schroeder against Detroit. We need to find out when Reggie Jackson is coming back. He's a really good play too. We need to find that out. Avery Bradley, I like him against Sacramento. Zach Levine, I like him. Fournier against Philly, that's always a good play. Jordan Clarkson, I like him. Otto Porter, no. Tobias Harris against Atlanta, nah. I don't like. I think I've been riding with Tobias Harris for the last few games, but I don't think I like Tobias Harris tomorrow. Gorgie Jang, he's definitely in play. Reggie Jackson says here he's out. Jay Crowder's going to be in play against Boston. Clint Capella at 5.7. I like him against Houston. Kenneth Farid, 5.6. Robin Lopez, 5.6. Ariza Valanciunas in LA. I like that play at 5.5K. I like Valanciunas. That might be a little stack. I like that. Darren Collison, no, against Boston. Kent Bazemore is dead to me. We got KCP. We got to ride this streak with KCP while he's been shooting so hot. Because he's been shooting the lights out lately. He really has been. So we got to ride that while we can. Yeah, we got to ride that while we can. Nikolai Jokic, he's coming up questionable. We need to find out what's going on with that because I do like him against the Houston Rockets. Tristan Thompson at 5.2. Ish Smith at 5K. I don't like that. Marcus Smart 5K. Might be a decent play. Nerlens Noel was just called back up from the D League. We may be seeing him pretty soon. Markieff Morris is questionable. I don't like him anyway. Jameer Nelson against Houston. He is a thing. I like Jameer Nelson at 4.9K. Jaleel Okafor, no. Larry Nance, 4.8 is in play. Ilya Silva is in play against Orlando. Pat Bev, he's in play against Denver at 4.6. Nikolai Mirotic, no. Augustine, no. Robert Covington against Orlando, he's definitely in play. I like Robert Covington tomorrow. Sergio, uh, he's still cheap. He's 4,500. I like him. Nurkic. If Jokic don't play, I love Nurkic tomorrow. Brandon Ingram at 4.4. Nah, I want none of that. Jamal Murray at 4.3. That's pretty tasty as well. I like Jamal Murray at 4.3. Bismack Biyombo, no. Pat might be in play here. I like him. I like Matt Barnes tomorrow. Danny Green is in play against Washington. Kelly Olynyk at 4K. Brandon Jennings 4K. Dario Saric at 4K. Patty Mills. So we've got a full slate, man. We've got tons of options tomorrow. So that can be a good and a bad thing. We don't want to overthink it. That's why we develop our core plays and we stick to them. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick point total preview for tomorrow. We're just gonna state the slate of games too. Yeah, we're gonna start in Orlando. Orlando is going to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. It is a 196 point total, with the Philadelphia 76ers being the aggressor in this point total. They are giving up 2 points to the Orlando Magic. Anytime Embiid is on the floor, he's definitely in play for me. So I do like Joel Embiid in this game. I think he's going to be somebody to watch. A really good play there. We've got the Sacramento Kings going to Boston. That is a 208 point total. You know we can always attack Boston rebounding, and you've got that in Boogie Cousins. Of course, you've got a good rebounding threat in Boogie there. You can also look at Rudy Gay in this game as well. Rudy Gay is going to be a guy that can definitely go out and rebound the ball against the Boston Celtics. My little logo right here for you. There you go. Uh, my New York Knicks at home giving up -2.5 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a 210 point total. I like the pace and the tempo with both teams in this game. I think Porzingis is definitely in play. I also like Zach LaVine in this game. I think he has a better game this time out against the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, a lot of people are going to chase that. I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to have him somewhere because I didn't have him anywhere last time when he dropped 80 on the Knicks. We got the LA Lakers in the next game against the Toronto Raptors. This is a -10, so 214 point total. That is a big total and a big spread. So naturally, I want to stack some guys on Toronto's side. I think Lowry, DeRozan, fire him. There's a few times I want to tell you, hey, fire up Lowry and DeRozan. This is one of them times, man. DeRozan is an LA guy. He is really going to be the one to show out in this game. I can really see him having a great game in LA. Excuse me, in Toronto against LA. Sorry about that. All right. Next game is the Detroit Pistons going to Atlanta. There's no point total for this game as of yet. We are still waiting on some injury news on both sides of the ball. We need to know what's up with Millsap, if he's going to be playing. If he does play, I kind of like him. This game may be a low point total, and I might not. I mean, on this big of a slate, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you go to a game with a low point total. The next game is going to be the Cleveland Cavs going to Chicago to take on the Bulls on a back-to-back. I think somebody's going to rest. I just have a feeling that somebody from Cleveland is going to be resting. And if that's the case, if they rest the right guy, I love Chicago and Jimmy Butler. If LeBron doesn't play, I love Jimmy Butler in this game. If LeBron does play, I don't like Jimmy Butler that much. But if LeBron doesn't play, I like Jimmy Butler. Dwayne Wade is definitely in play. This is going to be a low point total as well. Just because it's Cleveland, there's probably the it's probably going to go to them, the favorites, but they're probably going to be a favorite. But the way they've been playing recently, I mean, Chicago can make this a game. So I like Jimmy Butler in this game. The next game we're getting to is going to be the LA Clippers going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. That is a 207 point total, with the Clippers giving up 3 points. Chris Paul's definitely in play in this game, but I think it should be a blowout. So I'm inclined to think that if the game blows out, Chris Paul Chris Paul had a lot to do with it. So I'm not adverse to rolling out Chris Paul and or Blake Griffin. I'm really not adverse to doing that. I think Anthony Davis is going to have his hands full in this game. Just because it's Anthony Davis, he's going to see a ton of ownership. But I don't think that I'm going to be messing with him with that 11.7K. The slate is too big. I think I can find other guys. If I don't think Anthony Davis is in line to have one of those, you know, 70 point AD games, then I'm always lighter than him as far as ownership goes than the rest of the field. And I don't see him doing that against the LA Clippers tomorrow. So I won't have very much of Anthony Davis. The next game is the San Antonio Spurs at home in a 202 point total against the Washington Wizards. Normally, I would tell you the best player on the floor is going to dictate the pace and the tempo. But the best thing on the floor for San Antonio is going to be their team defense, which smothers and slows down the games. So I do not like very much from the Washington side. Kind of a rule of thumb is, man, I just don't roster guys against San Antonio that much. You got to be really cheap, and they've got to be resting a lot of guys for me to take somebody against the San Antonio Spurs. So I don't like much from this game. Our next game is going to be the Houston Rockets going to Denver. This is a 222 point total, the highest point total of the slate. Everybody's going to have a piece of this game. This game's got everything. It's got Harden. It's got uh, really good bigs. It's got guys on the perimeter on the Denver side that can take advantage of Houston being a bad perimeter defense, especially James Harden. It's got the highest point total. It's got a 1.5 point differential, with the favorite being the home team, the Denver Nuggets. This game is going to have a lot of fantasy goodness involved in it, and I think I'm going to be attacking this game. I like James Harden tomorrow, even on the back to back. I like what he's able to do. I think he's going to be able to play well. I like, of course, Jamal Murray and Wilson Chandler in this game because Houston can't stop anybody from scoring. Their goal is to outscore you. So, from the point totals and everything we've discussed, a player pool should have already developed in your head. So when you go and you open up the DraftKings app and you look and you see these guys, you are like, man, this is, I was thinking about. He was talking about them. I was thinking about him. You develop this player pool in your head, and from then you sit down with yourself, you make a few lineups, and you look at it. Then you develop a core. A core. You pick the four guys that you see the most in the lineups that you've just been tinkering around with. Then you erase it all. You go back and you enter those four guys in a bunch of lineups, and then you mix and match and try to come up with lineups that you really like and a core that you can really trust. That is how you make your core four. Remember, I am your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Please go to the DFS Sweatshop.com. It's www.dfssweatshop.com. View the page, browse the page. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if there's any improvements you want to see to it. And if you are not a member, go ahead, subscribe, get in there, be a part of it. From there, you'll have access to our exclusive 300 Club Facebook page where we're in there chopping it up all day long. You're going to see the most exclusive content because what we want to do is we want to generate a space where you're able to just gain as much fantasy knowledge as possible. Ain't no sharks in there. These are all regular, everyday people that are just trying to get better at DFS sports together. And we've got a system. It's been working. Uh, with 2,500 strong, we can always stand one more. So, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. Thank you. Have a wonderful and profitable Friday. And remember, in the DFS Sweatshop, we always keep it 300.